Hello everyone, myself Himanshu Dhupia, and today we are going to talk about rock cycles. Okay, so what exactly is rock cycle? Rock cycle is a series of processes that create and transform the types of rocks in earth crust. So basically it's a very simple definition that there are many types of rocks, how the rocks are going into different type of process and how the rocks are formed in different ways. Like we will talk about igneous rocks, we will talk about metamorphic rocks, we will talk about sedimentary rocks, how exactly these rocks are created, okay, how they are going into the cycle, how the igneous is formed, then secondary formed, then sedimentary forms, and then the metamorphic forms, or directly igneous to metamorphic is also formed. So this is all about the rock cycles, that rocks are going into the cycling, that is the rocks, like that the same way water cycle is. First of all, evaporation, second is condensation, and third is precipitation. Same way, when the volcano is getting erupted first, okay, then due to the convergent boundaries or divergent boundaries, rocks are again going into mantle. Okay, now it is coming on earth, now it is coming on mantle, and this is the subduction zone. Don't you think this is the cycle? This is what exactly we are going to study today, okay, the rock cycle. And I told you about the three rocks, different type of rocks: sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. There are also subtypes of these rocks, like the subtypes of sedimentary rocks are clastic, organic, and chemical. Foliated and non-foliated is the subtype of metamorphic rocks, and very important for the examination point of view, those are intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks. We have talked about this intrusive and extrusive landforms in our previous video, so if you haven't checked it out, please check out at our YouTube channel, Universal Group of Institutions, the video you are seeing right now. You make sure you subscribe the channel and hit that bell icon also, so that you can get the videos at very first. Okay, so this particular diagram, after at the end of this particular session, you will know what exactly is this, because right now it might feel like a food web is going on. What is going on, like everything is connected, disconnected. So you have to watch this particular lecture on rock cycles till the end. Okay, so stay tuned, make sure you subscribe also. Fine. Now, if I talk about the rock cycle, so rock cycles is a continuous process through which the old rocks are transformed into the new ones. Cycle has to be something new. Cycle means something new. So igneous rocks are the primary rocks. Igneous rocks are the primary rocks, and the rocks form from these rocks. And other rocks that form from these rocks. What are the other rocks that form from these rocks? The name is sedimentary and metamorphic. Okay, so igneous rocks can be changed into sedimentary or metamorphic rocks also. So this is particular rock cycle: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. Generally what happens from igneous to sedimentary, from sedimentary to metamorphic, and from metamorphic to igneous. But sometimes igneous rocks directly converts to metamorphic rock, or sedimentary rock directly convert to igneous rocks also. Okay, so it's like a food chain and food web, you have to remember that. Okay, now whatever the fragments are coming, like these are the fragments. Okay, these are the fragments from a volcano, or we can say igneous rocks. Okay, volcanic igneous rocks. So the fragments that are depositing into the deep sea, or the layering is going on, the sedimentation is going on, means the deposition of small soil particles, debris, rock particles are called sedimentation. So this particular diagram in front of you is showing you that this is a big rock. Now the first process is it will break down. That process is called weathering, means breaking down of rocks. Then these particular particles, or we can say elements or compounds, or the rocks and debris will be transported. That is called erosion. So there are different type of erosions: air erosion, wind erosion, water erosion, soil erosion. All these are erosions, means whatever the weathered particles are, whatever the rocks that has been weathered from the big rocks, small particles that has been transported to the another place. Now these transported sediments will be depositing somewhere, that is called deposition. Okay, now fourth step is that one deposition, second deposition, third deposition, fourth deposition, fifth deposition. So what will this will become? These will become a layers. So this is called our sedimentary rocks. The layering of the igneous rocks particles are called as sedimentary rocks. You have to remember that. Then sometimes sedimentary and igneous rocks also change into metamorphic rocks. Okay, like this. So when the magma is coming out, which type of rocks will be formed? First of all, igneous rocks. After the deposition, what will happen? Sedimentary rocks will be created. And after some time, due to plate tectonics, these sedimentary or igneous rocks will go again into the magma, into the mantle basically, and it will become magma, and again it will come out in the form of lava. That is a full water cycle, the rock cycle. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, so like in this diagram, these are the igneous rocks. The left one is the molten lava. This is the lava. Molten lava. These are forming which rocks? Igneous rocks. And this is the photo of Hawaii National Park. Hawaii is very active, volcano plume basically. And in the right side, you will find the metamorphic rocks in the Death Valley National Park of USA. Okay? So you have to remember that how from the igneous to metamorphic rocks are created. They are generated basically. Now, if we talk about that, how exactly the rock cycle is affected by the various human as well as environmental phenomenon. So we will talk about these the phenomena that are affecting the rock cycle. So first would be that Earth's internal heat and pressure, which can cause rocks to melt completely or transform it into a metamorphic rocks. So simple is that this is our heat, this is our mantle, this is our crust, this is our mantle, and below that it will be core. So there are two types of core also, inner core and outer core. Okay. So if you haven't watched my interior of the earth video, go check out that also. Now from the core, because as we are going down into the earth, temperature is increasing. You have to remember that. Now because of that heat in the core, the rocks that are present in mantle will also get melted basically. So in the mantle, rocks are in the form of semi-molten liquid form. Semi-molten. It's not purely liquid like water. No, not like that. It will be semi-molten liquid mode. Now students, the thing is that this semi-molten liquid will come out in the form of volcano, in the form of lava, and I have already talked about how volcanoes are formed, how lava comes out of the earth surface, how magma comes out of the earth surface. Okay, you watch that video also. Now what happens, students, because of the earth's internal heat and pressure, which can cause rocks to melt completely, don't you think if the rocks will be melted, don't you think that the composition, the properties of rocks will be totally transformed? That is called metamorphic rocks. So this particular process is called metamorphism. Metamorphism. And these are the examples of metamorphic rocks. Example being slate, phyllite, schist, gneiss, migmatite, quartzite and soapstone. So foliated means it will have layers. Foliated means it will have layers, and non-foliated means it won't have layers basically. Okay. Now that has to be done. Now second, so this is the first phenomenon. This is the environmental phenomenon. We don't have any business in that. This is how the rock cycle impacts. Second impact is the upliftment of land caused by tectonic process, which exposed rock that was underground to weathering and erosion. It means, now the photo in front of you I have already covered in one class. Can you guess that? The answer is batholith. This is a batholith example. Now if you have watched my video previously, you might know what batholith is. Batholith is supposed to be in the deep, like if this is the surface, it is in the depth. Batholiths are formed. Batholiths are the example of intrusive volcanic landforms. Remember that. Means these batholiths are formed deep within the earth. Now you might be wondering how that batholith came out of the surface. right? This is the photo of the surface only. It's like a mountain. How it came here? So basically, beta, what happened? This particular batholith, due to erosional process, due to tectonic process, it came out. So don't you think the rock that was once intrusive, now it is example of extrusive, and now its erosion can be occurred by wind and water, or by the anthropogenic activity, means human activities. We will also cut this particular rock for our construction purpose and many other industrial purpose. That is how the rock cycle is getting affected. Now the third example can be weathering. So weathering is driven by precipitation, temperature and plant roots, which physically fracture rocks and other environmental chemistry, increasing chemical breakdown. Can you see the photo? Just check once what is going on. These are the rocks, but along with that we have the plants also. Now the plants roots will be going inside the, okay, like here the plants are growing. Now these plants roots will be, it will be weathering the rocks. Don't you think these rocks will be ultimately mixing with the soil, other rocks, or we can say it will be totally disintegrated due to the this particular biological erosion, we can say, or biological property of plants, because those roots will be disintegrating the rocks. So again, rock cycle has been impacted by whom? Environmental phenomenon. Okay. Second example can be the water. If there will be lot of water here, what will happen? Don't you think water erosion will happen? Rocks will disintegrate into parts and it will eroded. It will be transported somewhere. It will become sediment somewhere, and ultimately it can be sedimentary rocks also. That is the role of precipitation and water cycle. Second is temperature. Suppose the temperature of this area in daylight it is 40 degree, and in night it will become like 10 degree. Just take an example. Okay. So this temperature differentiation, it won't go 10, just do 20 for now, 28, 26. Okay. But still in morning, because of the temperature, rocks expanded. Okay. Now due to, like, in the night what will happen? It will contract. So this contraction and expansion results in the weathering of the rocks. It will change into again something else. Okay. Now next example is that large or deep water bodies, like this is a water body, this is our ocean surface. Basically this is called sea level, remember that, sea level. So interesting thing about sea level is that, like, we are calculating, like, we know that Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. Okay. So basically that 8848 meters or 8850 we can say. So this is 8848 meters is from the sea level, means we are counting the sea level from the sea level itself, from the surface level of the sea, not from this area. Remember that, because if we count like this, there will be more higher mountains than the Mount Everest itself. So we are counting from here, not from here. This is the short piece of information I wanted to give. Fine. Let's move to our main. So large or deep bodies of water like big lakes, wide rivers or parts of ocean often have slower moving water. See, water will always move fast here only. Okay, the ocean waves are here only. So as we are going into deep into the ocean, the movement will be slow, not that much fast. If water will move slowly, then what will happen? These sediment particles, example being silt and clay. Silt and clay, what will they do? They will settle on the ground itself. Don't you think they will settle here only? Because if there will be here, because of the oceanic waves, fast moving oceanic waves, they will be transported from one area to another area. But due to the depth settlement, it won't move that much. Now you tell me, suppose these rocks are igneous rocks, and due to sedimentation of millions of years, don't you think these sediments will become like layers and it will change into sedimentary rocks due to high pressure and high, lot of pressure is there, and after the layering, what will happen? Don't you think this, if this is a layer, if this is a layer, this is first layer, this is second layer, this is third layer, this is fourth. After some time, what will happen? This first layer will lose its moisture also, it will lose the air also, it will become hot, it will become heat, and this is how the sedimentary rocks are formed from the igneous rocks. Okay. Don't you think it impacted rock cycle? So we are reading about that, how these environmental phenomena are impacting our rock cycle. Fine. Third is, now the next is human activities. Like this particular phenomenon is ours. The extraction of rocks and fossil fuels. Rocks means like a coal. We are extracting coal for our energy, potential energy resources. Okay, we need it for the coal thermal power plant. We need it for various purpose. Coal is like a, it's the part of our life basically. So when we are extracting such rocks, and by the way, coal is a type of sedimentary rocks. You have to remember that. Coal is a type of sedimentary rocks. Now, when we are extracting rock and fossil fuels, which in turn can destabilize soils. Don't you think, suppose that excavation is going on in the left. Now, if this particular excavation, these machines will go down and the rocks are present here, coal. Due to the displacement of coal, if we are pulling the coal out, what will happen? Don't you think it will destabilize the soil? Because we are taking something out from the earth. So there will be a gap, there will be a hole in the earth, and how it will be filled? Don't you think if we are extracting the coal from the earth and after some time, if we are if we are constructing a big building, if we are having some big project, it is bound to fall because of that gap, because we are not filling out that gap. We are leaving it open like that only. Okay? So first problem is that because of the extraction of soil and fossil fuel, it can destabilize soil. Second is that it can increase erosion. It's obvious. Can you see this photo here? It can increase erosion. If plants won't be there, don't you think deforestation will be there? Then erosion will take place. Okay. Third is decrease water quality. Why decrease water quality? Means suppose that here you are doing some excavation and this area is left open. Don't you think the water that is coming from above, it will mix up with the groundwater? Now this water is not good because it is a sewage water or runoff water, agriculture runoff water. It may have lot of nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur because of the agriculture fertilizer we use, or industrial waste. It will mix up with the groundwater like this and it will become groundwater pollution. And because of the, now you will think, sir, how have you entered into water pollution? We are talking about rock cycle. No, it's connected everything. If the sulfur, calcium, phosphorus, nitrogen, if everything will be here, don't you think it will impact the rocks below it? Definitely, it will degrade the rocks and it can again create the, it can impact the rock cycle again. Okay, fine. Next example is urbanization. This is also human activity, and human activity, like a fancy word for human activity is anthropogenic activity. You have to remember that also. Okay, I have to write here for your remembering purpose. Anthropogenic. Same way, anthropology. We read anthropology, right? Anthropology means study of human activities only. So urbanization means what we are doing. Earlier, this particular area might be a green, forest. Now we have removed that forest to meet the demands of urban population or population increase, right? So we have removed the trees and we have filled this particular place with the concrete. Now what will happen? Earlier soil was there, so whenever the rainfall was occurring, that water was going down into the our surface. it used to recharge our underground water, but now what is happening, that water is running away, running on the roads itself, that because we have not left any place for the soil percolation, soil absorption, water absorption capacity is lost in our urban cities. That's why even if we have small rainfall in today's times, immediately flooding news happens in the metro cities like Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, it's everywhere. Second thing is that it increases erosion. Suppose that whole city is covered with concrete and some places are left out for the soil purpose only. Don't you think it will have more pressure of water to be absorbed? It will increase in erosion. Second thing is that because of the concrete jungle, we don't have plants, that much plants. As you can see in the aerial photo itself, we are seeing very less plants. How they will stop water? Else if sustainable development means, yeah, you grow the city, you build the city, but you grow trees also so that it can absorb the water and it can recharge our groundwater. Fine. And one more last thing, that urbanization decrease the soil quality in its surrounding areas. Obviously it will, because we will be using lot of construction materials that is not eco-friendly, like cement, okay, all these things, many chemicals we use for paint purpose, many furniture, many other things we use that is not environmental friendly. Okay, so that's why in sustainable development goals we talk about the eco-sustainable or sustainable buildings we talk about. Okay. Next example is hydraulic fracturing. This is also a human activity. This is how the our rock cycle affects. What is happening, students? Hydraulic fracturing means where hydraulic fracturing is, we use it to remove oil and gas, which uses water, sand and chemicals to create new or expand existing cracks in the rocks that allow oil and gas to flow into drill holes for extraction. That is called hydraulic fracturing. What we do to crack open the soil, to crack open the rocks, we use water plus chemicals. To do what? To extract more oil and gas from the cracks. So ultimately what will happen, that these type of fracturing will contaminate the aquifer, means drinking water, as well as they will impact the stabilized rocks that are present here. These are the stabilized rocks. If we will do fracturing here, don't you think the it will destabilize the soil and ultimately it can sink, this whole system can sink down. That is called hydraulic fracturing, and it will also impact the rock, because earlier there was a proper layering, but after some time this won't be there, only these two layers will be there, and this layer 1 will impact layer 2. Okay, this layer 1 will have the more impact, more pressure on the layer 2. That is how the rock cycle is getting affected. Next is human land and water use. The way we use land, including deforestation and for agricultural activities, what we do, we remove trees and other plants for plowing fields. This is a field, and in this particular field we were having lot of trees here like this. Okay, lot of trees were there. Now we have removed all the trees. What happened? You can see by yourself that erosion, soil erosion happened. Also by the overgrazing, by whom? By the livestock also destabilize soil, because these all animals will overgraze. Overgraze means they will eat more grass than its capacity. So ultimately this particular area will become grassless. And if it will become grassless, don't you think erosion will happen? Definitely it will, and erosion means destabilizing of soil itself. Also increase rates of erosion by 10 to 100 times. So it's a big problem. All these are big problems. Okay, So that's why we always say afforestation or reforestation is the key for sustainable development. Next is damming rivers and extracting water from freshwater ecosystems for human use changes where and how much sedimentation occurs, which affects soil quality and causes change in habitat. It means that when we are building some dams like this is a dam. Okay, this is a reservoir. So reservoir definition is that the water body that is behind the dam is called reservoir. So some dams are so big that these lakes have become these reservoirs have become lakes, artificial lakes. Okay. Now because of the dams creation on the rivers, what happens? It creates a problem in the fishing habitat also. Now you will ask me how it does. So read this definition that dams change river flow, agree. Water temperature, yes, and sedimentation, sediment deposition, I agree. Because when we construct a dam on the river, it will change the river flow, definitely. It will change the temperature also because water is getting stabilized, it's not moving water. Okay, if water will keep on moving now, the temperature won't be that much. If you put water in direct sunlight for stabilize, it will become so much warm after some time. Also sediment deposition, if water is keep on flowing, don't you think sediments will have less time to deposit? Because water is constantly flowing, remember that thing. Now because of all these things, because of all these changements, the habitat of fish also rely on, because some fish need the constant water flowing, water temperature should not increase. The best example is coral reefs. These are the coral reefs. It is so sensitive creature that it requires certain temperature. That temperature has to be 24 degree to 26 degree. If the temperature will be more than 26, it will die. If the temperature is below 24, it will die. It is so sensitive. Now because of the global warming, this particular coral reef, okay, coral reefs are the worst impacting. They have the worst impact on their their habitat. Reason is that these coral reefs are only 1% in the world. They are only 1%, but 25% of aquatic animals live inside the coral reefs only. You have to remember that. The largest coral reef in the world is Great Barrier Reef, that is situated on the east coast of Australia. Basically, Great Barrier Reef, it is situated in Pacific Ocean, and the sea is called as Coral Sea. And Great Barrier Reef is so big that it can be seen from the space also. Also, it has been given the UNESCO World Heritage Site status. Right. Also, it is called as the largest living structure in the world. There are a lot of coral. So we will make a video about coral reefs also. If you want to know more about coral reefs, you can comment in the box that you want coral reef video. Fine. Now let's come back to the how coral reefs are impacting rock cycle. So students, what happen? Plants and other organisms such as those that build coral reefs don't. So basically, funda is that coral reefs cannot be suspended in air. Remember that. Coral reefs cannot be suspended in the, suspended in the water. They cannot float like this. They need some medium to rely on. Like if this the medium, they will rely on this. Yes, they live inside, beneath the surface. They need sunlight. They need, they will live near the surface only, but they won't come out. Remember that. If coral reefs will be exposed to air, they will die. So coral reefs will hold to something. Suppose this is coral reef, so it will hold some sediments. So don't you think this particular rock is getting impacted by the coral reef itself? This is how the rock cycle is affected by this particular coral reef phenomenon. Next is extreme weather events which can accelerate rates of erosion due to flooding or wave action. Can you see? This is drought, this is flood, this is wildfire, this is blizzard, this is heavy rainfall, and this is our tornado. Because of all these extreme weather events, our rock cycle impacts. How? Means all these things can increase the rate of erosion or because of flooding or the drought purpose. Okay. So this is our impacts. Rock cycle is affected by various human activities and environmental phenomenon. So I want to announce one thing for you before going further, that our admissions are open for 2025-2026. We are offering the integrated course of PUC Commerce Arts. Along with that, we are offering CLAT, CSET and CUT preparation with the PUC itself, 11th and 12th standard. In BCom, we are offering IAS, IPS and KS. This time, we are launching CA also, Chartered Accountant course also. So you can become CA just after your degree. Okay, we will make you ready till the time you pass out. Now, BSc and BA, we are giving you coachings about IAS and IPS and KS also. This time we are beginning MA Political Science, so you should enroll right now and just check our contact for further information as well as our website. Okay. Now, just we are at the end of our lecture. That the rocks we are talking about, we talked about all these rocks and all. So what are the types of rocks? There are three types. I already told you: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic. So igneous means the moment magma comes out, it will solidify. It will be hard, there will be no layering because there was no time for the layering itself. These are called intrusive rocks, igneous rocks, and there are two types of igneous rocks: intrusive and extrusive. Intrusive means slow magma cooling. When the magma comes out of the surface and it becomes lava, so that lava cooled very slowly, that is called intrusive. The rocks that are formed by the slow magma cooling is called intrusive. Example is granite, and the magma that comes out and lava instantly cool down because of the why instantly? Because suppose that some volcano is erupting in the North Pole, okay, in very very temperature is very less there. In such conditions, obsidian rocks like extrusive rocks will be found. Sedimentary means form from sediment compaction. I told you sedimentation, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, it compact is called sedimentary rocks. So this type of rocks, sandstone, limestone, coal, all these rocks are the example of sedimentary rocks only. Third is metamorphic rocks. So basically these are not new rocks, you have to remember that. Igneous and sedimentary are new rocks. Now if this igneous and sedimentary rocks are transformed into some other rocks, that is called metamorphic rocks. These are very hard. Reason is simple, that they are under lot of stress, lot of pressure, lot of temperature. Sometimes, like most of the times, their properties totally is changed from the igneous and sedimentary rock. Like this marble, okay, this slate, okay, all these are there. And the slate is example of foliated. These have layers, and marble is example of non-foliated. Okay, you have to remember. The example of more igneous rocks are granite, diorite, gabbro, rhyolite, andesite, basalt. Example of sedimentary rocks are sandstone, limestone, coal, chalk, gypsum, shale. These are the examples of sedimentary rocks. In examination, direct question has been asked. They keep on asking, chalk is the example of which type of rocks? There will be 4 options. Again, metamorphic rocks, slate, marble, gneiss, quartz, these are the example of metamorphic rocks. So in next lecture we will talk about these only. We will talk about in detail, we will talk about igneous, we will talk about sedimentary, and we will talk about metamorphic rocks. So those videos are going to be super interesting and super informative. So you make sure you subscribe the channel for that and hit the bell icon for that. Okay. So again, signing off. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.